program, we're going to deal with 3 environmental threats. We'll begin with polychlorinated biphenyls, better known as PCBs. We'll also talk about acid rain. Global warming and the destruction of the ozone layer will be the topic of our last report. We can no longer ignore the SOS signals the planet is sending us. A new toxic substance is found in our environment every month. Hardly surprising, really, society manufactures 1,000 new chemicals every year. Most of them are launched on the market without their potential danger being assessed. Today, almost 35,000 synthetic substances that are potentially carcinogenic are used regularly. And garbage. A lot of it goes directly into sewer systems without pre-processing of any kind, and the remainder is buried in landfills carelessly. Toxic waste seeps into the ground and invades the underground waters. Via the food chain, it accumulates in living organisms. 10 years ago, polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, were banned. But we are not rid of them yet, and we certainly haven't finished talking about them. In 1929, when polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, appeared on the market, the scientists had created one of the most stable and versatile families of molecules ever. Since then, these molecules have found their way into all sorts of everyday products, such as adhesives, paints, varnishes, inks, lubricants. Before long, their electric and heat insulating properties were put to good use in electric transformers and heavy machinery oils. 50 years later, their manufacture and importation were banned in North America. PCBs are extremely stable. They do not dissolve in water and resist oxidation. They are not biodegradable, and they accumulate in living organisms. When PCBs are spewed into the environment, they infiltrate the food chain and all living systems through skin contact, ingestion, or breathing. Once inside a living organism, the polychlorinated biphenyl molecules amass in the fatty tissues. Scientists have demonstrated that when these molecules accumulate in the liver of mammals, they cause certain enzymes to be produced. The bodies of the mammals then turn into veritable chemical processing plants. The enzymes alter chemicals, like pesticides or other contaminants, that have entered the system via the food chain. When the enzymes come into contact with the pollutants, they create a new group of highly toxic chemicals that are not found either in the environment or in laboratories. There is proof that these new chemicals cause cancer in some mammals. However, whether PCBs cause cancer in humans has not yet been proven. Out of the 565 million kilograms of PCBs produced in North America, 315 million are still in use. The remainder is either in storage or scattered in the environment. It is very difficult to get rid of PCBs. Ordinary incinerators won't destroy them. In fact, they provide just enough heat to transform them into byproducts that are even more toxic. When an atom of oxygen connects with the molecule of a PCB, it becomes a furan molecule. If 2 atoms of oxygen connect, the PCB molecule becomes a dioxin molecule. In humans, exposure to large quantities of furans and dioxins causes a skin eruption called chloracne. Also noted were digestive problems and muscle and joint pains. In animals, they have been proven to be cancer-causing. Here again, there is no proof as yet that they cause cancer in humans. To destroy PCBs without creating furans or dioxins, they must be burned at temperatures of at least 1200 degrees Celsius. PCBs can only be broken down completely at that temperature, but the process is very costly. Researchers are trying to find a more economical way to dispose of PCBs. They have noticed some bacteria have a genetic heritage that enables them to degrade some of the 209 different PCB molecules. According to the researchers, several series of genes would be necessary for bacteria to be able to degrade all the types of PCBs. Since no such bacteria exists in nature, researchers are attempting to genetically engineer a superbacteria endowed with all the necessary genes. However, there's no telling what these man-made microorganisms might do. Their genetic instability could make them into ecological bombs, even more devastating than the PCBs they are meant to destroy.
Here in Australia, science took on a very serious problem: hot steering wheels. Our solution? The big head steering wheel cap. Easy to use, scientifically proven to keep your steering wheel cool so you don't burn your hands, and designed to fit the average cranium. The big head steering wheel cap. It's a worldwide phenomenon.
About $10 only from AutoShade. Available in your store's automotive department.
Popping with flavor, more flavor than ever, and less fat too.
It's the right thing to do.
Popping with flavor.
Bring those right crisp flavors, they're new.
And the taste indulging,
Right thing to do.
tangy sour cream and onion. Now more flavor on the chips. Less fat and less grease across your lips. Popping with flavor. Bring those right crisp flavor.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
You are watching The Science Show on the Sci Fi Channel.
This is a story of the future, but not the very distant future.
They're coming. Sinister cyborgs, deadly droids, metallic monstrosities, angry automatons, computerized killers.
Oh gosh, oh gee willikers.
The Sci-Fi Channel's Robot Rampage begins tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern.
This week on CNET Central, how to watch your favorite TV shows on your computer. Tonight at 10:30 p.m., 7:30 Pacific on the Sci-Fi Channel.
What is happening with the PCBs is typical of our industrial societies. We never think about how we're going to get rid of dangerous substances and their waste. When an accident occurs, we turn to science, as if by a stroke of magic, it will solve all our problems. But by then it's too late. The accidents have escalated into catastrophes. When we want to get rid of toxic waste, just about anything goes. In New York, for instance, major companies sold their toxic wastes to heating oil distributors. These small outfits mixed them with their oil to increase the quantities. They then sold them to consumers whose furnaces soon became sources of pollution themselves. In the 70s, we built plants with towering smokestacks that would spew the sulfurous gases high into the atmosphere. That just shifted the problem. It came back down to haunt us in the form of acid rain. In Canada, Scandinavia, and other industrialized countries, you can come across lakes that are limpid, devoid of algae. These lakes are crystalline because they have been completely stripped of their microorganisms, vegetation, and fish. They are dead lakes. Hundreds of lakes throughout the world have suffered the same fate. Their slow death is caused by the gradual acidification of their waters. The acidification is caused by sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide emissions, which are spewed into the atmosphere. Nitrous oxide is a result of the burning of fossil fuels, motor vehicles being the worst culprits. But the greatest threat comes from sulfur dioxide, or SO2 emissions. The bulk of these emissions is sent into the atmosphere by coal-fired power stations. The smokestacks emitting sulfur dioxide can stand 300 meters tall. This keeps the immediate vicinity of the stations themselves relatively emission-free. However, prevailing winds carry the toxic emissions elsewhere. On the way, as it comes into contact with vapors and clouds, the sulfur dioxide undergoes a chemical transformation. The atom of sulfur and the SO2's 2 atoms of oxygen combine with the water's 2 atoms of hydrogen and atom of oxygen to become sulfuric acid. It's this acid that makes acid rain. But acidification is not only caused by acid rain. Considerable amounts of sulfur dioxide fall back to Earth before reacting chemically to the vapors of water. When these tiny particles of SO2 touch dew, they undergo the same chemical change and become acid. The same acid that falls in the form of acid rain. Similar chemical reactions occur with nitrous oxide emissions from the motor vehicles on our roads. When a lake receives large quantities of acid rainfall, the metabolism of living creatures inhabiting the lake is severely affected. They cannot adapt to the acidity, cease to reproduce, and eventually die. The acidification has other consequences as well. When these acids filter into the ground, they cause a phenomenon called lixiviation. This is a process much like that which occurs in a filter coffee maker. The acidified water seeps through the soil, taking with it the minerals and substances vital to plant life. The soil is deprived of its nutrients, like coffee is of its flavor. Soils become unfit for growing trees. At present, whole forests are declining, probably irreversibly. Lixiviation also causes certain metals in the ground to dissolve. The trickling water causes large quantities of mercury and aluminum to filter into the lakes and waterways. The spreading of lime or limestone can temporarily offset the acidification of soils and lakes, but the effects are short-term, neither practical nor economical. Acid rains don't spare man-made constructions either. Relentlessly, they are disfiguring our buildings, monuments, and sculptures. Acid deposits and rains are gradually eroding a number of areas of our globe. And yet, there is a solution: strict anti-pollution standards.
As anyone who has ever owned one of our pickups can tell you, Nissan builds one very tough truck. Now J.D. Power and Associates has ranked Nissan as the best overall truck line and vehicle dependability at 5 years of ownership in a tie with Toyota. Fortunately at Nissan, we've developed a tiebreaker.
Tylenol Extended Relief.
They named it Tylenol Extended Relief because it's extended relief.
I can't give it a better name than Tylenol Extended Relief because that's what it does.
Remember, it's Tylenol Extended Relief.
Perfect name, great product.
When people find out Imodium AD relieves diarrhea, often in one dose, and now has a new low price, things could get pretty hectic around here. Imodium AD, one dose relief at a new low price.
I cannot live another day without air conditioning.
Says tomorrow's gonna be hotter.
Hotter?
Like yesterday.
Yesterday? Yesterday you said you'd call Sears.
I'll call today.
You call now.
I'll call now.
Now's the time to save on Sears installed central air conditioning. Get 0% finance charge, no billing, and no payments until September with the Sears Charge Home Improvement Plan. Call now for a free in-home estimate on a Kenmore air conditioning system. State-of-the-art engineering means greater energy efficiency. A new Kenmore could save 10 to 44% on your annual cooling costs. In time, even pay for itself. Sears also offers fast emergency installation, a 5-year warranty on parts and labor, plus our satisfaction guarantee. And you know Sears will be there to back it up. Get 0% finance charge, no billing, no payments until September. Offer ends June 30th, so call now and save with Sears.
So what's the paper say about tomorrow?
Another scorcher.
Cool.
Everyone agrees. We must take action. The Swedes were the first to do something about acid rain. They established regulations for the burning of oil and coal. They implemented many programs encouraging industry to clean up their toxic gases. The results are convincing. Trout now swim in some of their lakes again. It will take international agreements to deal with pollution. As a rule, however, the study commission's setup only groups some 20 industrialized countries. They commit themselves to eventually signing agreements to gradually reduce production of dangerous chemicals. All this takes time. Meanwhile, we continue to use products known to attack the ozone, and each day we destroy the Earth's natural protection a little more. Greenhouse effect, destruction of the ozone layer. Are we looking at another emergency situation? The chemicals polluting the planet's surface are threatening. But a much greater threat hovers a few kilometers above our heads, and it is endangering the survival of the entire biosphere. Since the beginning of the industrial era, man has gradually altered the composition of the gaseous layers that protect life on our globe. One of the major threats to the planet is the growing greenhouse effect, due in large part to the buildup of carbon dioxide emissions. Naturally present in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide shelters the planet like a gigantic sheet of glass. It lets the rays of the sun through during the day and traps the heat released from the ground at night. That is the greenhouse effect in its natural and beneficial state. Without its protective gas layer, the Earth's mean temperature would be 100 degrees Celsius in daytime and minus 150 at night. However, over the past 100 years, emissions of oil, gasoline, coal, natural gas, and wood have increased carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere by 30%. And it is estimated that it will double by the year 2030. The buildup of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere magnifies the greenhouse effect and raises temperatures all over the planet. If carbon dioxide emissions maintain their current pace, the scientists predict a global warming of 3 to 5 degrees within 30 to 50 years. Consider that in 15,000 years, the temperature of the planet has only increased by 5 degrees. The length of time it took for that warming to occur meant that living creatures could adapt to the change. A similar warming over a period of merely 50 years would have a disastrous effect on the biosphere in its entirety. Whole regions of farmland could turn into deserts, and grain production could drop by 50%. Melting glacier ice would raise water levels at least 1 meter, inundating low-lying coastal regions and cities. Rainfalls would be more abundant, and an increase of only 1 degree would double the number of hurricanes. Another major problem confronting the world is the destruction of the ozone layer surrounding the Earth. The ozone layer is a natural veil of gas that prevents most of the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays from reaching the Earth. It acts like a sunscreen. Composed of 3 atoms of oxygen, ozone forms and destructs naturally in the stratosphere. The ozone layer is located between 15 and 50 kilometers above the Earth. At that altitude, pressure is 200 times lower than at the Earth's surface. As an indication of the ozone layer's fragility, it would be only 3 millimeters thick if it were brought down to the temperatures and pressure that prevail at the surface of the planet. But the chemicals used in aerosols, refrigerator coolants, insulating foams, and some containers made from such foams are gradually destroying that protective filter. They produce gases which belong to the family known as chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, and are seriously depleting the ozone layer. Unlike other substances, CFCs do not decompose in the lower layers of the atmosphere. They slowly climb up to the stratosphere. It is estimated that 90% of the CFCs released between 1955 and 1975 are still ascending toward the ozone layer. Once they reach to the stratosphere, CFCs are broken down by ultraviolet rays, which free atoms of chlorine. 1 single atom of chlorine can destroy up to 100,000 molecules of ozone. The destructive effect of CFCs was confirmed in 1985 by a meteorological satellite. A hole over the Antarctica was photographed, revealing a decrease of 40% of the ozone layer, and it is becoming thinner all around the globe. NASA statistics predict that if chlorofluorocarbon emissions go unchecked, up to 9% of the ozone layer could be destroyed within the next 50 years. The experts claim that the depletion of the ozone layer is already causing an increase in skin cancers. They even suspect that exposure to ultraviolet rays weakens the immune systems of animals and human beings. We know that ultraviolet rays can destroy microorganisms essential to ocean food chains, a cause for some concern for commercial fishing. The warming of the planet and the depletion of the ozone layer could have catastrophic effects on the balance of all our ecosystems. While human beings plan in the short term, Mother Nature reacts over the long term.
The Volvo 850 Turbo Sports Wagon. It goes places no wagon has gone before.
What do you like best about Sprint Cents?
10 cents a minute.
10 cents a minute. I know what I'm getting when I'm calling on the phone.
The rates are a flat rate. They're a dime a minute.
It's no wonder over the last few months so many people have signed up for Sprint Cents. 10 cents a minute every evening and all weekend long. It's as simple as that.
1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
A dime a minute is a wonderful deal.
So even if I go for an hour, it's only going to cost me $6.
So, what are you paying for a minute of long distance?
Call now for 10 cents a minute and get up to 100 minutes free.
If you want to know how good life really tastes, you need to wait a few years. Caffeine-free Diet Coke. No caffeine, no sugar, no limits.
Retro science. Retro fiction.
Amazing.
Retro TV. Friday at 3 a.m. You are watching The Science Show on the Sci Fi channel.
Julia Murray is doing something her allergies and the pollen never let her do before. She's watching one of the finest 9-year-olds ever to play the game. Thanks to Benadryl, the histamine blocker. It actually blocks the histamine that triggers allergic reactions. Take Benadryl and take back your life.
And try Benadryl dye-free, the allergy medication with no artificial colors or dyes.
Yeah, it's a Volvo wagon.
Perhaps if we assessed the environmental losses in ecological dollars, the powers that be would move faster. The ozone layer is getting thinner. Species are vanishing. Our health is deteriorating. Put it all together, we're talking a lot of eco-dollars. We needn't panic, but we can no longer afford to be ignorant.
You are pre-programmed for a week of sinister cyborgs, deadly droids, metallic monstrosities, angry automatons, and computerized killers. It's the Sci-Fi Channel's Robot Rampage begins tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Now the Sci-Fi Channel goes one step beyond. Next.
Coming up on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Our brain never takes a holiday. It supervises everything we do. It even reflects on itself and ponders its own design. In today's program, we are going to explore the world of dreams. We will also discover how the brain works and look at two instruments designed to study it: the magnetic resonance scanner and the electroencephalogram. From the Cro-Magnon caves to the pyramids of the pharaohs, mankind has always wanted to unravel the mystery of dreams. The most ancient key to their interpretation is Egyptian and dates back to 2,000 years BC. Popular belief has always put stock in the power of dreams. If you dreamt you were losing your teeth, Well, it meant you were going to lose money. Seeing yourself in a mirror announced a wedding. A little simplistic. Maybe this was why serious people tended to consider dreams as the garbage of the mind, useless and unhealthy. Up until a young Viennese doctor, Sigmund Freud, made dreams the basis of a new science, psychoanalysis. What purposes do dreams serve? To assimilate the present? Predict the future? Or to put us in touch with our inner world? Men, women, young and old, we all dream. All mammals dream. In fact, by the age of 70, we will have spent 4 whole years of our lives dreaming, to the tune of 90 to 100 minutes every night. Who hasn't dreamt of flying? Our nocturnal voyages are filled with images. And yet throughout recorded time in different civilizations, these images reflect less than 100 themes. They correspond to man's basic experiences and major concerns, such as birth, death, and emotional bonds. Human beings experience 2 normal states, being awake or being asleep. The dream state differs from these 2 states. The differences can be clearly observed on an electroencephalogram. When we enter a dream phase, called paradoxical sleep, our metabolism undergoes a complete change. Our eyes begin to move rapidly, while the rest of our body is completely paralyzed. The heart rhythm quickens and slows down in an almost anarchistic way. The biochemical state of the brain is altered. The blood flow increases by 40%. Some regions of the brain are actually more active than during wakefulness. The first dream of the night can last 10 minutes. Then deep sleep takes over again. After an hour and a half, a new dream phase begins. This cycle occurs 4 or 5 times every night. As a rule, as the night goes on, the dreams get longer. By early morning, they can even last up to a half an hour. Soon, machines will help humans better understand their dreams. Research workers in artificial intelligence are currently developing a computerized psychotherapist. After having told her dream to the computer, the dreamer and the machine strike up a veritable conversation. By codifying the elements and analyzing the contents of the dream, the computer is able to suggest various interpretations. The first scientific attempts at interpreting dreams go back about 100 years to Sigmund Freud. Freud believed that a dream about diving and swimming related to the womb. By a reversal process common in our subconscious, the dive would mean rather the emergence from water, hence birth. For his part, Carl Jung, one of Freud's followers, believed that water symbolized the archetypal mother rather than the dreamer's real mother. For Jung, the color of the water, its temperature, every detail distinguishing the choice of one symbol over another was meaningful. The theories of master and student were soon to become irreconcilable. For Freud, the motivating force behind dreams was sexuality. Jung found Freud's view too limiting. Dreams might just as well originate in a collective unconscious, built through the ages, that gives all mankind its psychological heritage. Without excluding the European psychological approach, the North American school of thought favors a physiological approach in the study of dreams. In our brain, small molecules called neurotransmitters are responsible for transmitting information. Some of these molecules would bring on sleep and dreams. A cat was made to fall asleep and dream as a result of an injection of fluid extracted from the brain of another cat which was asleep. Scientists are hoping to identify these substances and thus possibly find the ultimate sleeping drug. There is more and more research being done on dreams, and new theories abound. Some scientists believe that dreams facilitate the learning process by digesting everyday experiences. For others, dreams eliminate superfluous information to clear the cerebral cortex, the center of thought. Perhaps we overestimate the importance of sleep and dreams. Some experts think we do, but they are also quick to add that it's hard to believe that we sleep a third of our life away for no particular reason. If that were the case, it would have to be a major fault in the evolutionary process. There are as many interpretations as there are dreamers, but no universal code of interpretation exists. We alone hold the key to our dreams.
As we, the class of '95, rise to the challenge of a new day, our achievements will not be tainted by the smell of corruption. We will find bold new solutions that will not only ensure a clean start, but will also, ever so softly, serve notice that we are not a generation of slackers. We are the future, and we've come for what's ours.
Of the many products that claim to clean glass, Windex with Ammonia D is the best. It leaves a beautiful streak-free shine just about anyone can appreciate. Windex from S.C. Johnson Wax.
On my really pounding headaches, Tylenol didn't always get rid of all the pain. I've found that 2 Advil work better than 2 Tylenol gel caps. For my tough headaches, Advil just works better. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
You are watching The Science Show on the Sci Fi Channel. Think of a color and live forever. Deep Red, a Sci Fi Channel premiere feature. Today at 5, 2 Pacific.
This stuff is hot. These guys are cool. And you've got a date in the anti-gravity room. Skate the cutting edge of comics.
I'm here to serve your comic book needs.
Toys.
Oh, right.
Movies with Nick.
Comics are my life.
And Phil when they turn on the anti-gravity room on the Sci Fi Channel. Saturday at 12:30 Eastern.
Whatever their meaning, dreams always come as a series of images. One of the main difficulties in studying dreams stems from the fact that to discuss them, you have to put them into words. That is, go from the right side of the brain to the left side. But the two sides, or hemispheres of our brain, each have a different way of seeing things. In their work, lawyers, architects, computer specialists mainly use the left hemisphere of their brain. Conversely, in painters, musicians, dancers, it is the right hemisphere that predominates. However, neither hemisphere is more important or fun than the other. In almost everything we do, the two work together, even if they intervene in varying degrees. Scientists have always been intrigued by the brain. After more than a century of research, they now know fairly accurately how the roles of each region of the brain are distributed. What happens when you make a mistake in carrying out a routine gesture? Which was defective, your signal, or rather your brain's preparation for the signal? Was there an error in spatial perception or misjudgment of the object's weight? The motor command sent to the muscle is the culmination of a host of complex operations. The brain processes vast quantities of information simultaneously, but we still know very little about the mechanisms that are called into play for even the simplest of movements. We do know that the right hemisphere of the brain commands the left side of our body, and vice versa. But there is more to it than that. Each side has its own type of consciousness. The left side of the cerebral cortex is the center of analytical thought, speech, and logic. The right side is responsible for orientation in space, body consciousness, and artistic ability. The two hemispheres are, however, interdependent. They are connected by a large network of fibers, the corpus callosum. The brain is divided into specialized zones to which specific cerebral activities correspond. The center of vision is located in the back of the head, in the visual cortex. It is here that the information picked up by the eye is decoded. This enables us to distinguish the shapes, colors, and position of objects before us. All tactile information is gathered by the skin, muscles, joints, tendons. This information is then sent to the somatic sensory cortex. Next, it is analyzed by the cerebellum and the motor strip. This is where commands for movement are generated. The cerebellum is primarily responsible for the coordination of movement. When emotions get out of hand, a stormy exchange takes place between the limbic system and the frontal cortex. The latter regulates our impulses. If the aggressiveness builds up, the frontal cortex gets tired and can no longer fulfill its role. It becomes overloaded with emotional impulses from the limbic system, which it can no longer control. Anger explodes. If speech gets into the act, then the left hemisphere of the brain goes into action. Meanwhile, the right hemisphere, unused, rests. It seems to have cut off all contact. It's in the thinking, rational part of the brain, the frontal cortex, that we develop strategies. But a decision calls upon all our senses and all parts of our brain, especially our memory. And yet, there seems to be no specific area where information and sensations accumulated over the years are stored. It is believed that memory is spread throughout the brain. Nerve impulses can travel through our brains at a speed of 100 meters per second. Not surprising, then, that for most of our movements, the reaction time is a mere 0.3 of a second. The brain is a world in itself. It consists of some 50 to 100 billion nerve cells called neurons. To exchange information, the neurons send nerve impulses through their main prolongations, the axons. A little like a tree sends its sap from its trunk to all its branches. On the axons and their branches are located the neuron-to-neuron contacts. It is in these tiny swellings that the brain's chemical messengers, the neurotransmitters, are found. The neurotransmitters take over the impulse and relay it to another neuron. Owing to these neurotransmitters, each neuron can establish contact with thousands of other neurons. During the past few years, scientists have discovered over 40 different kinds of neurotransmitters. They each have a crucial role in orchestrating nerve impulse exchanges. Too much dopamine could cause schizophrenia, and a deficiency of the same neurotransmitter could bring on Parkinson's disease. Many laboratories around the world are putting enormous effort into trying to produce synthetic neurotransmitters. Scientists have great hopes for these drugs of the future. By restoring the biochemical balance of the brain, they will be able to eliminate the causes of a number of diseases.
Let's get Dad a gas trick track for Father's Day.
Nah. A Wonder Fork.
Nah. A Clappy Cooker.
Nah.
Need a great gift for Father's Day? Come to Radio Shack. We've got what dads want most. And with Radio Shack Gift Express, we can even pack and ship it. Why rack your brains?
A power tie.
Nah.
Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Introducing Discover the Classics. This superb 3-volume collection has been a bestseller in Europe. Volume 1 presents the most famous love tunes in classical music. Volume 2 features works based on the great myths and legends of history. In Volume 3, you'll hear classical pieces which have become popular in film and television. Over 3.5 hours of glorious music, plus an informative booklet. Order now and discover the classics.
Use your credit card and call toll-free 1-800-641-7575. That's 1-800-641-7575. Or send $19.95 for 3 cassettes or $24.95 for 3 CDs. Plus $4 shipping to Discover the Classics, P.O. Box 4951, Omaha, Nebraska 68104.
Experiments on the brain, like many others, often involve laboratory animals. But other procedures have to be used to study an active human brain. About 100 years ago, Richard Caton, a British physiologist, was the first to measure the electric activity of an animal brain. But to do so, he had to open the animal's cranium. 50 years later, amplification techniques allowed for the study of electric activity in a human brain through the scalp. This investigating technique is called electroencephalography. Let's see how it works. A brain is constantly producing electrical currents. This electrical activity starts in the nerve cells, the neurons. The electric currents can be picked up by a device called an electroencephalogram, or EEG. This machine registers variations in electric currents occurring in a brain. For example, if a person is active, the brain will produce higher frequency electric impulses called beta waves than when the person is resting quietly. Then slower electrical impulses known as alpha waves appear. Alpha waves are typical of relaxation and daydream states. Sigma waves emerge when we fall asleep. Delta waves are those of dreams. And while electrical activity changes according to our states of consciousness, it also changes from one part of the brain to another. For instance, the group of neurons responsible for sight in a certain area of the brain presents the same electrical variations at the same time. The electroencephalogram enables scientists to specifically visualize the electric variations happening in various parts of the brain. By analyzing thousands of EEGs, scientists have been able to establish the characteristics of normal cerebral activity, and conversely, to diagnose certain brain diseases, injuries, or other afflictions from abnormal EEGs. To record a person's electroencephalogram, about 20 small metal discs, or electrodes, are pasted on specific spots of the scalp. Changes in electrical activity in each electrode are compared with the neutral activity of a zone of the body. For instance, an earlobe. Each electrode is connected to an amplifier according to a pattern that corresponds to the various regions of the brain. The feeble electric signal is then amplified and pen recorded on a graph sheet. Electroencephalography is chiefly used for medical purposes. Analysis of the graphs enables doctors to diagnose various forms of epilepsy or coma and to locate cerebral injuries or tumors. But electroencephalography is also a research instrument. It is used to assess the effectiveness of certain therapies or to study phenomena like sleep and dreams. Interpreting an electroencephalogram is highly complicated, even for experts. But it's an extremely valuable tool nonetheless. On the other hand, when you need precise information on the state of a brain, to locate a tumor, for instance, doctors now use the latest investigative technique, the magnetic resonance scanner. Imagine that we could multiply the Earth's magnetic pull 30,000 times. A technique was developed in the United States in the 70s that does just that. No, it's not a new weapon. It's the latest in medical diagnostic techniques, magnetic resonance imaging. The technique enables doctors to obtain images inside the human body with great precision. A magnetic resonance imaging test presents no danger nor discomfort to the patient. There is no radiation, and unlike other examining methods, the doctor does not have to inject pharmacological substances into the patient's body. Moreover, in many cases, it circumvents exploratory surgery, which is always traumatic for the system. Scientists were able to devise such a technique because the human body is 98% water. There is no shortage of hydrogen atoms. When patients are subjected to the scanner's magnetic field, the hydrogen atoms in their body line up, in a parallel queue, as it were, like little compasses. The scanner emits a radio wave that strikes the atoms of hydrogen. Under the impact, the atoms begin to spin randomly. The radio wave is interrupted. The hydrogen atoms line up again, but this time resonating like little bells that have been struck. The radio resonance of each atom is then picked up by an antenna, digitally coded, and interpreted by a computer. By locating the position of the hydrogen atoms, this process makes it possible to produce images of exquisite anatomical detail. These images can then be examined on a video screen or transferred onto film. Used for diagnostic purposes, the magnetic resonance scanner enables specialists to detect injury or disease in the spinal column, liver, or heart at an early stage. Brain tumors, which used to be invisible, are now detectable. The scanner itself is opening up new avenues in research. In the near future, we will be able to observe what happens in heart transplant rejection. Magnetic resonance images will make it possible to adjust anti-rejection drug dosages without having to perform repeated biopsies. Magnetic resonance imaging is being perfected continually. The next generation of machines will even be able to produce three-dimensional images of the organs in a human body.
Can you figure out the cost of a long-distance call?
Who knows? It's confusing.
Do I look like a mathematician?
Well,
I studied calculus, but I can't understand any of these long-distance deals.
Well, it's perfectly easy if you have Sprint Cents. 10 cents a minute every evening and all weekend long. It's as simple as that.
Repeat that, please. One thin dime.
10 cents a minute?
Dime a minute.
No super duper discount fabulous promotion deals?
If you want something complicated, see the other guys.
Call now for 10 cents a minute and get up to 100 minutes free.
So you think all iced teas are the same. Let's take a blind taste test and listen. Try this first iced tea. Now try this one.
Yeah.
Sounds like a winner. In a blind taste test, Nestea beat Lipton by a sound margin.
They're back, they're bionic, and both can be yours for only $6 million.
It's true.
The Bionic Woman, the $6 Million Man. Weekdays beginning at 5. You are watching The Science Show on the Sci Fi Channel.
But her admirers had better beware, for now she was the leech woman.
It's a beautiful day! Why don't you kids do something different for a change?
Get outside. Okay, Mom.
Introducing the great taste of new Taco Supreme flavored Doritos tortilla chips.
That was a good idea. That was a real good idea.
Julia Murray is doing something her allergies and the pollen never let her do before. She's watching one of the finest 9-year-olds ever to play the game. Thanks to Benadryl, the histamine blocker. It actually blocks the histamine that triggers allergic reactions. Take Benadryl and take back your life.
And try Benadryl dye-free, the allergy medication with no artificial colors or dyes.
Someday, technological progress may be able to give us a way to exchange behavior recipes or dream cocktails. In the meantime, every night holds beautiful gifts in store for us. A mysterious rendezvous with the unknown.
A young girl's blood holds the key to immortality, but only for those who will kill to possess it. Now there's a new color for terror. Deep Red, a Sci-Fi Channel Pictures original, today at 5 p.m., 2 Pacific. Now the Sci-Fi Channel goes one step beyond. Next.
Coming up on the Sci Fi Channel.